Have you ever loved someone so much that you pretend they never left? "Where is Addison's stuff?" Jacob asked in a panic. "I sold it." "What do you mean you sold it? How could you sell it? Our own sister's stuff. You at least kept the vase." Emily shakes her head. Jacob suddenly starts rummaging through Emily's personal belongings before finally finding a receipt. Monty's pawn shop. When Jacob is first introduced, he is unable to properly deal with his grief for the death of his sister Addison. He suppresses his emotions and cuts off all lines of emotional support with his friends and family, especially his sister Emily, who is continuously trying to help him. He has a deep fundamental fear that if he tries to move on in his life, he will forget about Addison. Jacob gave Addison a vase for her birthday, just before the accident happened. To him, the vase embodies Addison's memory. When he discovers Emily sold it, he is thrown from his state of normality and is swallowed by the fear of coming to terms with her death and having to live on without her. He is instantly motivated to find the vase to quench this fear and return to his new, unhealthy normality. However, he is faced with a variety of challenges in doing so. Just down the street from Monty's pawn shop, Jacob is forced to swerve onto the road. He has not travelled on a road since the crash. A car zooms by, beeping as the rearview mirror clips the handlebars of Jacob's bike, sending him into the gutter. Jacob runs into Monty's. "I need this vase back." The overly nice receptionist greets his uneasy, distressed face with a smile. "I'm sorry, doll, that's sold already, and it's against policy to—" "One sec, love." He watches her pace back and forth in the storage room. He looks up and sighs. Noticing the computer unlocked, he looks at the small gap in the plastic that shields the reception. He jams his hand through the cash slot. He stretches, strains, and twists to reach the mouse before clicking on recent sales. He ducks down every time the receptionist paces through the doorway, only his stuck hand visible. Finally, Jacob sees the address the vase was delivered to. Jacob hears the phone call wrap up and he locks eyes with the receptionist walking back. "Hey!" Jacob tears his arm from the plastic and starts running. Not really looking where he is going, he runs straight into one of the shelves, knocking it over and creating a domino effect with the others. Jacob urgently searches the street for his bike. He looks behind him and sees the receptionist fumbling out of the shop, hoping to stop him and hold him accountable for the damage he has caused. Normally, if he had caused this amount of distress, he would apologize and make it right, but he had no time for things like that anymore. His sister's vase is way more important. So he sprints around the corner. A few blocks away, dripping in sweat, Jacob hails a taxi. Panting, he hops into the taxi and says the address. The taxi driver hits the accelerator and Jacob is suddenly transported back to multiple disturbing and disjointed memories. Bright lights, the sound of metal clashing with metal, the echo of an ambulance, and the pain. Subconsciously, he opens the door. "What the hell, bro?" "I'm sorry." Jacob stumbles out of the car and the taxi driver speeds off. Tears streaming down his face, Jacob holds his head in his hands and he paces back and forth the sidewalk, trying to get himself together. He slides down against the side of the building, lifts his head up and lets out a deep breath. The vase. "I just need the vase." He looks up at the street sign and then looks at the one to the right, Dietrich Avenue. 17 Dietrich Avenue was the address. He gets up and starts walking. He knocks on the door. He knocks again. Jacob steps into some of the garden and peeks through the windows to see if anyone is home. Nobody seems to be. He sighs and starts to walk away when out of the corner of his eye, he spots it. The vase. He looks around. What is he willing to do? Is he willing to sacrifice his morals and take extremely dangerous risks in an attempt to obtain the vase? He picks up a rock, looks at the vase. He looks back at the rock, nods and closes his eyes as he thrusts it through the window. Shoving himself through the tight squeeze, he reaches for the vase. He has it in his hands, but he does not feel relief. He just feels numb. "You're not here. You're not here. You left me. I'm sorry. You would be disappointed in me. Freeze! She's gone." He smashes the vase as a jolt suddenly hits him. The policewoman keeps a strong grip on the taser until Jacob hits the ground. Emily walks in and looks at Jacob through the bars. Emily locks eyes with Jacob, ready to have an argument, shaking her head and sighing. However, the longer she looks at him, the more she realizes how much pain Jacob is in. He looks into her eyes, disappointed in himself and who he has become. Emily scans all the emotion on his face and pulls him in for a warm embrace. "I'm sorry," Jacob whispers. The main themes of the film are dealing with grief, learning to let go of the people you have lost in life, and accepting help and support from people that care about you. The audience follow Jacob's journey of change as he realizes his mistake in pushing away his lines of support and suppressing his grief. He accepts Emily's comfort and allows himself to express his devastating emotions. By the end of the narrative, he realizes that he will never forget about Addison, and no vase will ever change that.